Hi everyone, Sandy Trefger here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is for the Country Craft Creations homemade hop here on YouTube. My project is a set of 4 stuffed folders for recipe cards with a storage box that you see here. And there is a tutorial that you can follow along to create just one of the folders if you want to give as a quick gift or to make the whole set. So stay tuned for the tutorial. For this project, I'm going to go over the pieces that I have pre-cut with you. This will be down below in my description of this video. Click on Show More to see the cut list, but you might also want to grab you a notepad, or if you use the Country Craft Creations tutorials notebook like I do, you might want to turn and take notes in here so that you have it for reference. So I have mine already written out here. I'm going to put it aside because I also marked it on my pieces. First, let's go over the pieces for the box. So from your chipboard, and you'll need 2 12 by 12 pieces. You're actually only going to use 1.5, so save one for scraps for another project later on, or look at your scraps now that you may have that works. You're going to want 2 that are 3 by 5.5, and then from cardstock to wrap this, we're going to want 2 that are 5 by 7.5. You're also going to want 2 chipboards that are 3 by 7.5, cardstock to wrap it. You want 2 5 by 9.5. These are all in inches. You want 1 piece of chipboard that is 5.5 by 7.5, and you want 1 cardstock that is 7.5 by 9.5. So that's the pieces we will need to assemble the box. For the folders, you're going to want, for your folder bases, you're going to cut 4 8.5 by 11. I'm not going to go over the scoring yet. We'll do that as we assemble. So you're going to cut 4 8.5 by 11. This is your base for your folder. Your folders, you're going to have 4 in your box. Each folder needs an easel stand, so we're going to cut 4 that are 4 inches by 8 inches. This is all out of the Artisan Black cardstock. For 2 of the folders, each folder is going to have 6 album pages or recipe pages that are stacked. You're going to want to cut 12 that are 6.5 by 3.5, and then you want 12 that are 12 that are 5.5 by 4. There's 2 styles, so 2 folders will have 1 style, and the other 2 folders will have the other style. So set those aside. Then we're going to have inner pockets in all our folders. So you're going to cut 4 7.5 by 5.5. And then from your scraps, you're going to cut little 1-inch pieces. You're going to have 2 that are 5 5/8 by 1, and 2 that are 2 by 1. Just set those aside. Now, some of these pieces, as you're cutting, before you cut into a full sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock, check what you've cut before, what's left over, your scraps left over. You may have some good sizes that will be able to get some of these pieces cut out of. You don't want to cut into a new one until you've used up all scraps that are of your sizes you need. And then the scraps that you have left over, I have quite a few here. Save these. You'll want these for tags in your folders. So save all those. Keep those separate. Okay, so we're ready to get started. I'm going to be using art glitter glue mostly and 3/8 inch score tape. Assemble our box first, our storage box. So we have our chipboard and our cardstock that we cut to wrap these. If you've done Country Craft Creations tutorials before, you should have some templates out of your chipboard. These are 1 inch wide by 12 inches. These help us with our placement for wrapping of our chipboard, of our album covers, and also we're going to do that for the box. So you want 2 of these from your scraps. So first let's do the base, the bottom of the box. So we're going to put this down, our 7.5 by 9.5 piece of cardstock and our 5.5 by 7.5 chipboard. So you put your template here. This is going to help us have an exact 1 inch border around for wrapping. If you use score tape sheets, you can go ahead and use those now. I am going to use art glitter glue. I like the score tape sheets. It makes it really quick and easy, but I realize that some people don't have that, so I'm using the glue to show you that it works just fine. It's just a matter of preference of what you like to use. So I'm going to attach this down, put it up right up against the side of the chipboard, templates, and up at the top. Move those out of the way, flip this over, grab my burnishing tool, and make sure it sticks down and you don't have any bubbles in there. So now we'll set that aside. Next we have our 2 3 by 7.5 chipboards. So you want your 5 by 9.5 cardstock. We'll do one at a time. So put your chipboard templates in. You can also use score tape strips on this if you wanted to. Burnish. This method of making a box is from Tamara of Country Craft Creations. It's quick, it's easy, and it takes a lot of the box making stress out of it for you. And you can change the sizes to whatever you need for a box. Here's the second one. Whoops, it's okay. I had wrote on this side and marked it out and wrote the wrong size, but that's okay. It's going to be covered with paper. And then the last pieces, we have 2 3 by 5.5 chipboard, and we needed the 2 5 by 7.5 cardstock, our templates. I think you'll be surprised how quick and easy it is to make a box. Of course, this one does not have a lid because of the style of the project that I'm doing. So I just needed a base for this one. And the last one. Okay, so you can put these away, save them for other projects. And now we're ready to assemble, but actually first we're going to wrap the pieces and assemble. So we're first taking our base piece, which is the larger one, which was the 5.5 by 7.5, and we're just going to fold up all 4 sides. So we're going to wrap all sides of this piece, just like you would for an album cover. My bone folder, go ahead and get your creases in there. Make sure that you're folding up against that chipboard edge. So now once you folded it, you have these score lines that you can see where you creased it. You'd have 4 squares, and we're going to cut those out. You can either cut along the line of the score lines, or you can cut at a slight angle. I'm going to cut at a slight angle into that tip of that chipboard right there. You don't want to cut too far in there. So cut that out like that. So do that on all 4. Okay. Now we're going to fold and check. Make sure you don't have anything that needs cleaned up. That one looks pretty good. Just put your scissor along the edge and trim, so it may not need trimmed. This one needs just a tiny bit. And then the long sides also. You can kind of see where you have maybe a little piece sticking out. Can't see if you can see that or not. But anyway, trim that off. Just clean that up. Okay. Now we're ready to glue those down. I'm going to go ahead and do the long sides first. I put a bead of glue right along this chipboard right here, and then on my cardstock, like that. And you can pull it over and then burnish it down so it sticks. To the other long side, same way. To pull the ends over so your corners will be nice and mitered. And the last one. So now we have the base all nice and wrapped. So set that aside. These pieces here, these are the ends of the box. So these are your 3 by 5.5. We're going to wrap just 1 long side and 2 short sides. But we're going to go ahead and fold them all. Okay? We're going to fold all 4 sides, just like we did on the other piece, but we are not going to glue them all down. We're only going to glue 1 long side and both short sides. So that will become the top. So we have that like that. Same thing, we're going to just miter this out. I'm going to do the same on the other one. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the camera. Okay, so now again we're going to just attach the two short sides and the only one edge. This will make the top. So I'll put the glue here. Bring this over, burnish it down. Put these two sides in. And I'm sure you're thinking, how is this going to come together as a box? It's very simple, and I think you will like it. You do not have to use what they call structure hinges unless you just want to. You really don't need it to assemble it or to make it stronger. This is going to work. So it's that way. So you see you have this, still have a flap here. So leave that not glued down. So do the other one the same. And go ahead and speed up the camera on this one. Okay, I noticed that I forgot to tell you to fold and check these, but everything worked out just fine, so I didn't have any problems, so I apologize for that. So you do need to, after you miter them, before you glue everything down, fold and check to see if anything needs to be cleaned up beyond the edges. So there's those. So now we're ready for this last two. These are the long front and the back. So these are your 3 by 7.5. And we're only going to wrap one long edge, but we do want to fold it all. So just like before, go ahead and fold all these up. And I'm going to speed up the camera while I do that. Okay, just like before, we're going to miter these corners out. And next, this is where you will check, fold and check to make sure you don't need to trim, clean up anything with your scissors. So I'm just going to check right here. See, this one needs a little bit of trim. And just a tiny bit there. Side. Not much, but sometimes just a tiny bit. And do that for all 4 sides. Okay, so on this one, you just glue one long edge and leave all the other flaps not attached. Just like this. And this is what you want this piece to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. I'm going to speed up the camera and do that one. Okay, so these are all done, wrapped, and we are ready to assemble. So the first thing we're going to do to put this together, we're going to take the 2 pieces. I've got it turned this away, but this is the front and the back, and this is your base. Now, yes, this is unfinished here, but that's okay. We're going to be covering that up. So I want my finished one to the inside. So what we're going to do, we're going to attach this to the wings of these pieces here. And I'm going to use my glue, and I forgot to put my pen in before I took a break for lunch. So let me, because I know it's going to be stuck, let me go ahead and see if I can clear that up. And then we're going to put glue. Now I'm trying to stay away from the inner edge of that the chipboard, because I don't want it to ooze out too terribly much, though it dries clear. So go ahead and push this all the way in. Make sure we line up down here at the bottom, so at the top. You cut your chipboard right, everything should be fine. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up so that it knows that it's going to be standing up. And when I drop it down, you're going to see a little gap, and that's why I didn't like that glue right there on that edge. So I'm just going to clean that up real quick. All right, now we're going to do the next side. I'm going to turn it around because it's easier for me. Put glue, a line of glue. So we can go back and put glue in that gap later if we feel like we need to. For now, I'm just going to lift this up so the flap goes underneath. Line this chipboard piece up to that base. Okay, burnish that down. I'm going to go ahead and lift it up so that it knows it's going to be in that position, and it gives me that little gap so you don't see any glue there. A little bit right there, so I'll clean that up. Okay, now then, we're ready to put these end ones on, and just turn this around so that this flap's going to go right there. Okay, then we're going to be ready to put pattern paper on while it's flat, because it's just easier. So this is going to go here. We're going to cut that up. Stand it up also. Looks good. And turn it around and do the other side. Push it all the way up. Finish that. Stand it up. Now I'm going to turn it over and just kind of give it a burnish all the way around. Okay, so that's our box sides and everything put together. So while it's flat, we're going to put some pattern paper on. Now, I like to put my flaps on to the outside. Okay, like that. And I don't want to put pattern paper on these black ones, so make a note of that. These that are wrapped here, we're not going to put pattern paper on until the box is together. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out my papers. I'm going to cut mine 1/8 of an inch smaller in 2 directions. So like this one here, which would typically be, it's a 7.5 by 5.5. We're going to cut it 7 3/8 by 5 3/8 for this piece here, and on the outside. So you want 2 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and cut mine, and then I'll be back showing you putting it down. So before I put my papers down, I will share the measurements with you and what I've cut. But I want to show you what I'm doing here. You'll notice that in some of these areas, you don't have the black paper. So here I've already colored in with my black Sharpie. So I'm just doing it right here on the side, on the bottom, so that there's going to be 1/8 of an inch of chipboard showing it, and I don't want that to show. So I'm just coloring this in. The paper will come up to I know I'm coloring more than 1/8 of an inch, but I want to make sure that it's covered. Now you could, for these sections, cut them all the way the exact size, but I wanted to have that little black margin around them. And here at the bottom and on the sides. I don't think it's going to matter that much, but still don't want to risk having the craft chipboard. Now if you have black chipboard, then you wouldn't have to color. So it does, you can get chipboard in black. But with my design team package, I received the craft, so that's what I'm using. And I think it's, haven't checked, I think it's a little bit cheaper than the black, I would imagine. Okay, so I've got that all colored in, so that's going to help with that. Now we're going to pattern this. Now remember, we're not going to put these down until it's attached. So I picked, for inside here in the bottom, I used this as the back of some of the cut aparts of the journaling cards. And this big one here, everything's going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller. So for 7.5 by 5.5, like I said earlier, this is going to be cut at 5 3/8 by 7 3/8. So that's what I cut that. And for the back side, same size, I decided to go with the black because I don't want to waste the pattern paper right now. If I have extra when everything's finished, then I'll put pattern paper. Otherwise, leaving it black on the bottom is perfectly fine. You could even leave it black in here, but I did want the pattern paper here. So for the inside, I have cut my pieces for here. I'm using this little animal print. So I have those like that. And these are, again, 1/8 of an inch smaller each direction. So these here for these sides are 5 3/8 wide by 2 7/8 tall. And you're going to cut the same size for outside. And these longer ones are 2 7/8 tall by 7 3/8 wide. So I'm using this for the outside. I like this red plaid. Okay, so I'm going to speed up the camera. I'm going to put all these down in with my art glitter glue, and I'm going to, of course, burnish as I'm putting it down. So I'm going to speed this up, and then we'll put the box together, and we'll put these last 2 pieces on the outside. So I'm going to set these aside up here. Okay. Okay, so now we have it all patterned except for the ends. And now we're ready to bring our box together. It's just really simple with these flaps. I am going to use some score tape. If you have the 3/8 inch in the middle to help hold it down, that's great. I'm just going to be using a bit of 1/4 inch. I went through my stash and I am out of the 3/8 inch. So I'm just going to put, let's see here, that goes to the outside, so I'm going to put it here on the inside. This is to help hold it down some while I'm, because I do like to use the glue to hold these tabs in place to make our box strong, because we want to use glue also. Because in my area, I think the humidity sometimes, score tape, even though it's a really sticky, really good adhesive, has been known to come loose, like with hinges or any kind of stress points. So you just can't go wrong by using the art glitter glue for stuff like that. So this is going to be the inside. So we're going to peel. I'm going to work one side at a time and grab some clips. I love these little sewing clips that I have. You could use clothespins, whatever you have to hold it together. One side at a time, and I'm going to put glue. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some glue right back in this space. It's going to pull up together, and then on the hinges there, see it? Get the score tape. I'm not putting it over the score tape because it will actually make the score tape more apt to come loose. Okay, so now we bring this up. This comes up, this comes in. We line them up, square it up, really nice and tight. I'm going to see how that score tape helps, but I'm still going to use a clip here. On this side, we're going to bring it up, line it up, pull it pretty tight as we can, and clip that. So that's that end. And now we're ready to pull the tape backing off these last two little flaps. See how easy it goes together. It's just a wonderful way to put boxes together. And now glue on the hinges. It's going to be a really sturdy box. Last one. Okay. Now then, on my prototype, I had put two glue-on prong holder things. I don't have any more of those, and the ones I had a brad, so I don't know now if it's going to work for me to have handle pulls on the ends or not. So we'll just wait and see what I decide to do. So we're going to go ahead after this dries, and then we'll take these last two pieces and we're going to glue those in our base. Our box actually is finished. I'm not going to do any decorating until the whole project's done. So, and like I said, this pattern paper on the bottom, we can add that later if we have enough paper left. So let's go ahead and glue these two on, and then we'll be ready to start in on our first folder. Now, there are 4 folders that we're going to make. We'll make 2 of one style and 2 of the other. They're all made the same except for the recipe card pages or album pages. So we're going to, I'm going to show you how to make 2. And then I will not show you the other two. I will show you the finished ones because that's just extra time on the video that we don't need to spend. Since they're made the same, you can just rewatch the two that are being made. Okay, now if you want to make just the stuffed folder as a gift, you could just make one and put pictures in it and just give it that way without having the box and the others. So it's kind of a versatile project depending on how many you need and how many you want to make. So go ahead and put this one on. Over just a little bit. Okay, so there's the box, all patterned and ready to go. It's ready for the folders to go inside. They will stand up inside this box. So for the box base, I'm going to add little legs and some ring pulls on the side. Now these metal ring pulls are from Butterbee Scraps. They actually go together with a brad, so you could have attached it inside, but I didn't think about adding these on until after I'd already patterned this on the inside. Art glitter glue or any other kind of glue that you have that you like to use with metal will hold it just fine. It's not going to be used for actually lifting. It's more for looks on mine. These are, my legs are little wooden knobs that I have in my stash. You can get them at a hobby craft store. And to paint them, I just take my piercing tool and just stick them on there. And then I use a very dark gray Copic marker, which is nearly black. And I just paint them because I don't like to wait for paint to dry. And this is pretty instant. And the little brush tip can get right down in that groove where you need to go. So you just paint it up. You could do probably any color you want to with a Copic marker, or you could use paint and a paintbrush. You see how quick this covers, and it doesn't use a whole lot of the ink. I use this one specifically for painting and inking the edges of things if I need to cover up something. So there we go. So it's pretty much dry. And just take it off. I get a little bit of ink on me, but that's okay. Then I also like, these are a kind of a bronze gold color. I wanted a little more black, so I just take a Copic marker, and you can paint metal with an alcohol marker. And I just kind of, it's okay if it doesn't completely cover, but it gives it more of a black look. And I'll just let it dry. You can use these, your Copic markers or alcohol ink markers on rhinestones to change the color of clear, make clear ones into any color that you need, or the tops of brads. And so the alcohol ink will cover metal. So do this right here in the center, and then the ring's a little bit harder. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside and let these dry. The legs are already dry, so we're ready to put them on. My art glitter glue, it holds it really well and it dries pretty quick. So I'm just going to take, they're flat, pretty flat on the bottom. They've got a little indent in the center. So just put a good amount of glue on them. And I am not going to pattern the bottom of mine. I've decided to just leave it black. So I'll put my legs on there. Just one in each corner, about, looks like about 1/8 of an inch from the edge right here on each edge. Around, and the glue will dry clear. Just one more, and all we have to do is let them dry. And then we'll put these handle pulls on. Okay, so now we just let those dry and then we'll put these on next. Dried pretty quick, just a few minutes, kind of very sturdy. So now I have my little pulls that are ready to go. And I'm just going to glue them with art glitter glue right in the center of each end of this box. So I use art glitter glue on metal. It works really great for me. So I'm just going to put a good amount on this whole piece. And don't worry, it does dry clear. And then I need to make sure I'm lining it up so it's the ring hangs straight. And I'm just going to press and hold and let that glue grab for just a minute. And then I'll do the other side the same way. The little pull handles attached to both ends of the box. The legs are attached. And like I said, it's optional if you want to put pattern paper. I'm leaving mine black. So this is ready for all four of the stuffed recipe folders will fit inside this. I will be doing some decorating on the front. I don't know exactly yet. I may add some lace or ribbons, some flowers, some of the cut aparts or stickers. So that I will share with you when it's all finished. 4 folder bases. They're all going to be made the same. They're going to be scored the same and cut the same to put them together. So I'm going to show you on one. These are your pieces that are cut 8.5 by 11. So I have my 11-inch side in here at the top, and I'm going to score at 4.5, 5, 6, 6.5. Turn it so that your 8.5 is at the top, and we're going to score at a 1/2 inch. 1, 7 1/2, and 8. So I have my others already done. I'm going to show you how to cut one, and then you'll do all 4 the same way. Okay, so take your scissors, and the first thing I like to do is I'm going to cut this center, the widest part here. So this should be about 1 inch width. So you see your score lines, you turn it so that you're looking at it 11 inch across. Right here in the center, you've got the widest part, your 1 inch right here. And I want you to cut along these score lines on each side of that 1 inch space, both sections. So right in that score line, cut right up to the second score line. I'll fold this back so you can see. So we have cut like that. Turn it around. You want the 1 inch section in the center. You're going to cut right on up to that second score line. So you end up having a 1 inch space and a 1 inch wide flap like that. Then you're going to cut away. You're looking at it like this. We're going to cut away this first 1/2 inch right here. If you have longer scissors that you want to use, sometimes that makes it a little easier on these really long. So you're going to cut that away. Cut off just a little bit right here. I need to cut some more on that line. Okay, so you have it like that. We still have this flap here. We're going to cut this first 1/2 inch on just this flap that we made just a few minutes ago. So we have this flap, and then we have this. We're going to do the same thing. On this side, I have to flip it over to make it easier for me. I'm going to grab my bigger scissors. Just makes it a little easier. So we're going to cut the first 1/2 inch away. And then while you're cutting, go ahead and cut the 1 inch flap. So now you have the little short flap and you have the one here. And we still haven't done anything up here to this one. And this one will stay the same. You don't do any cutting, so this is your front part here. Then if you want a notch in the front side of your folder, use a circle punch or a notch thumbnail punch, or you can use, what I'm going to use is my envelope punch board. So this is 8 1/2 across, so half center point is 4 1/4. We're just going to make one punch right there like that. So this is how you want each of your 4 base pieces for your folders. You want them to look just like this right now. After you have your lines scored and then cut out the way you need to have it cut so that it looks like this, got the notch here at the top on the sides that have the wider wings. So that's where you want your notch to be. That's going to be the front of the folder. So looking at it like this, the first thing that I want you to do is fold under on your score line that goes to the inside, that goes closest to the center. Score that one, fold and burnish. Okay, so it looks like this. You're going to turn it over. You have a 1 inch space here. You have a score line right here in the middle. So you're going to fold it to the outside. So your fold is on the inside. Burnish, do the same here. Fold that score line towards the outside. Your fold of it's going to be towards the center. Okay, just like that. Okay. Next, we're going to take these. We're going to turn it back over. This is the front side. Take these 1/2 inch by 1 inch tabs here. Should be 1/2 inch wide. Just fold them and burnish. It doesn't matter which direction. Actually, right now I'm going to bring it back and fold it again. So I folded it under and then brought it back on itself like that. Then we're going to take our 1/2 inch here on the right, and we're going to score it, fold it under and burnish. And then we'll do the same to the one on the left, fold it under and burnish. Okay, so now we have it looking like this. You still have your score lines here. So this is the front. I'm just looking at mine to make sure this is the front. So next we're going to take this, and where this towards the score, you have one score line here and one here. This one here with your 1 inch space, fold it up and burnish. We're going to turn it. We're going to do the other side. We're going to do it this way. Let's just fold it up and burnish. So we have them facing each other like that. Let's bring this around. Do it the other way to get a good bend. This is the inner part here. So now we have that valley there. And then these two, still on the outside, you can just fold them back. I know this is confusing. Fold it back. And you're going to want to have it so that, let me show you. This one is here and this one's here, and then we have this 1-inch one down in a valley like that. So it's going to be like this when we put it together. And so you have like a 1-inch stand here, fold for your folder. So it's going to be put together like that, but it's not going to be flush in there. It's going to have a space. It's going to have this accordion space like this. So let me open this back up. This is from the inside. So you want these folded in like an accordion. This one folded here and the other one folded the other way, so that you have this valley. And then we have these, and I'll open these back up as we put them together with score tape. So now we need to put our pattern paper, our pocket in first, and then we'll do our pattern paper before we actually put it all together. So let's find our inner pocket. We have 4 of these that are 7.5 by 5.5. I've already scored 3 of mine. I'm going to show you this last one. You put your 7.5 side in. Now it's important on these because we don't want it, I had you cut them to 7.5 by 5.5, so I need to make sure I share this with you. But that's going to make it too tight inside there. It's going to bow out if you don't trim it down. So I trimmed off a 1/16 of an inch from the length and a 1/16 of an inch off the height because I don't want it sticking out too far. I'm still going to consider this like 7.5. So I put this, actually it's 7 7/8 or thereabouts. It's got a 1/16 off of it. Put it in at the top, and we're going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to flip it all the way around and score at a 1/2 inch again. And then we put this one in the shorter side and score on the bottom at a 1/2 inch. So this makes a pocket. We're going to angle cut out the corners where they intersect down here. And then we're going to fold and burnish for our pocket. I'm going to go ahead and erase this. So go ahead and fold your sides and all the way across the bottom to get your pocket. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this and trim off anything that you might have that kind of sticks out and snags. I'm going to put this on the back side of one of my pockets here, and I'm going to put it to the inside. So this is your bottom. It should fit right in here. And it's going to drop down over this piece right here. So it's going to come all the way down to the score line of the 1 inch space. So it's going to attach in like this. So it should drop down some, not right on the fold line, but kind of fit just along that fold line of this 1 inch space. So I'm going to take my glue. If you want to use score tape, that's fine. A prototype one, I decided on this pocket after I had assembled the folders, so I had to do it with it on the inside of it. So this should fit right in among the folds and not extend beyond your pocket. So I'm just going to double check it. Okay, so let's burnish it down. And that's going to give us a place for extra tags and things inside our There we go. So we have a pocket in it. It doesn't bow out a whole lot because it's pretty flat in there. Because I'm going to do that on all of mine, and then I'll pick out my pattern papers and we'll start patterning and assembling 2 of these. I've got 2 styles, and I'll show you how to do 1 of each. But you're going to end up with a total of 4. Now for your folder, we're going to mat the outside. Now at this time, we're only going to put it on the front. I don't mat the folds, the accordion folds. I don't mat the bottom 1 inch. I don't mat any of the inside because once you put everything in it, it's not going to show. It's just extra paper that you could use for something else. So first of all, I have cut 2 pieces, one for the front and one for the back. I'm not putting the back one on just yet because I need to put my easel and magnets on. I'm taking my envelope punch board with the one on the front. Now, the size was, I forgot to share, these are cut to 6 3/8 by 4 3/8, so it's 1/8 of an inch smaller than the original size. So this was 6 1/2, which is 3 1/4 is the center for the full piece. But since this is trimmed down 1/8 of an inch, you need to back it off 1/16 of an inch to get the center. Just like that. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead while this is nice and flat, and we're going to attach this down to the front. And then we're going to go ahead and put this all together, because that is all that we're going to pattern right now. I do pattern some in here in these little spaces where you add ribbon, but I do that after it's assembled. So go ahead and take your glue. Go ahead and attach it down. It's hard to see here on the black. Just take your time. And it's got a very narrow margin around it, the black. Burnish it down so that it has no bubbles. Nice and flat. So that is the front of our folder. And now we're going to be ready to put it together. And like I said, we cut this, but we're going to set it aside until we add our magnets and our easel. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our score tape. I like to use the 3/8 inch, but I'm out, so I'm going to use a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put tape right in the center of, make sure I'm correct here, right in the center on the inside. This is your pattern front. Open it up to the inside, right on the center of this outer flap. Both sides. Outer flap. Now, since I'm using the 1/4 inch tape, I'm going to use a little bit of glue with it as well. So go ahead and peel this off on both sides. Just peel the backing off. Take your glue, and I'm just going to put a little line of glue on each side. I want to make sure it does not pop open. But the score tape makes it easier to hold it together. Okay, so stand this up. You're going to put this with adhesive, line it up to the outer edge of the other 1/2 inch. So I'm matching it up. right here and burnish it down with my fingers. So we have this accordion V here. This flap is still out, and that is correct. Okay, so this side, attach it to the outer top, make sure they line up. Now what I like to do is, if I'm using the 3/8 tape, is just peel the back off the part of it. Make sure it lines up. So when that pinches in, you pinch it in at the top. That gives us this kind of like a bag look like that. Now then, take this flap here and apply some glue. Now first look at it and see if you might need to do just a tiny, tiny miter. Like right from the edge in. Like that. And we're going to put the glue on the flap. It's sitting down like that. And then bring it up. Reach in and flatten this out. And just bring it in and attach it and hold it down. Make sure it stays. So this gives kind of a solid here, so that when this is pinched in, this stays solid. So you're going to have to let it dry a minute before you pinch it in. So let me get a good burnish on there with my hand in there, and then I'm going to do the other side. I'm just going to trim it just slightly, tiniest bit. Add my glue. Bring this up. I'm going to stick my hand in, flatten this up, and bring it up and burnish it down. And then if you still see some sticking out after you've glued it down, just trim that little bit off right there. Okay, so there's the front. There's the folder. Now it will kind of stand up on its own, but once we put our easel on, it's going to stand up. So let's work on an easel now, so I can show you how to do that. So to make the easel, you have 4 pieces that you cut to 4 inches wide by 8 inches long, and you're going to put the 8-inch side in at the top, and we're going to score it a 1/2 inch at 5, at 6, and 7.5. Go ahead and erase my notes here. Now then, the one by itself, the 1/2 inch, just fold it under and burnish it. The other 1/2 inch, same thing, fold it under and burnish. The next one here, fold it up and burnish. The second one, fold it under, burnish. And we're going to have an easel that's going to attach like, I have to look at it again. Maybe I folded it wrong. Doesn't matter, I can reverse all the score lines. It's going to go this, like this, and I have it correct. Just can't remember what I'm doing like that. So it's going to be like that, okay? So these are correctly folded. So now we need to get our magnets. We're going to need 1 set, a plus and a minus. So we're going to burnish this. Now then, this is going to attach right here. The magnet needs to go inside this section here. So I'm going to pull this backing off. Fold this down. Got your fold line here. We're going to put one about right there in the center. Okay. Now we're going to add pattern paper to protect this part here, and we're going to put one here. and then we will attach it to the back. So we want to get our paper on first. I don't put pattern paper on these sections here. It's not really necessary unless you want to. I put it on this one. I'm sorry, I do put it on these outside ones because it shows when they're folded up. But on the inside I do not, except for the one to cover the magnet. So I'm going to get my pattern papers. I'm going to look at my scraps first and see what I have so far from this first one that I cut out, and look at that patterned end. So to pattern the easel piece from my scraps, I did not cut into a full sheet. So you cut two that are 3 7/8 by 4 3/8. So we've got two of those, and then here I just need one of each that is 3 7/8 by 1 3/8 and 3 7/8 by 7/8. So this one's going to go here. We've got the magnet on this back side, so I'm going to put this piece right here. And you're going to do your easel for all four the same. I'm only going to show you one. So you use the papers you choose, or you can look at my finished project and decide if you want to use the same papers that I did. So this one goes next. The animal print here. And that goes right there. And then I'm going to put this blue here. Going to flip it over. This is the inside part. We're going to cover this magnet up. Okay. Just burnish it really well, especially over your magnet. You want to make sure that it stays in good. And these are the basic gray magnets that you can order from Country Craft Creations. It's the large size, and it comes 6 to a pack. Okay, so we have this, so let's grab our piece here. We're going to put this on before we add our pattern paper. It just has to be that way so that we can put the magnet down. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this bottom ½ inch. This is the piece on the inside. And I'm going to put it, it goes in this ½ inch section here. And I'm going to center it. You want the fold of the easel right along the bottom of this piece, and then burnish it in. Bring it up, and then this is going to attach up here at the top. Now we want this, go ahead and do the magnet, so we'll take the plus. Let's see, I'm trying to think the easiest way for you to do it, because this has to be folded. It has to go through all the thicknesses. So fold this up, and you're going to attach your magnet like that. It's not going to attach this piece, it's going to attach to the back, but you want it like this. Pull the backing off. So see, I've just dropped it down so it catches, and then I'm going to, whoops, make sure it catches again. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to fold this and press so the magnet sticks, and then pull it apart. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on my ½ inch tab or hinge here. I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to line this up right here at the top. There. Now if it sticks out just a tiny little bit, you really don't see that very much. I should have done a better job at getting it lined up. But there it is, closed flat like this, and when it opens up, you have an easel stand. So now we leave it opened up. We're going to take this piece of paper that we cut, we're going to slide it in there with glue on it, and we're going to line it up. Leave this 1/2 inch uncovered. You don't want to get it on your score line, and we're just going to put our glue on. Slide this in. Bring it all the way up to the top. Line it up side to side. And I'm going to put my hand in so I can burnish. And I noticed that my edge piece popped up, so I need some more glue on that. Some more glue on it. I didn't have enough, I guess. And I'm just going to flatten this up and then hold that and let it dry. So this is the first folder with the easel stand on it. It's ready to be decorated. We will add the pages on this. I'll show you how. I'm going to go ahead and pattern the rest of mine and put the easels on them, and then I'll be ready to show you how to put your pages on two. I'll have two styles. I'll have one that flips down and one that flips to the side, and so we'll be showing you how to do that. I want to share, when you're working on your easels, that it's real important before you attach anything that you check. Now the score line that I originally gave you, score lines, it falls a little bit off the edges when we attach, and this is folded. So you need to fold this down, and what I did on mine, I don't know why, it needed a little extra fold in here. So on this 1/2 inch side here, it doesn't really matter which one, I went in and then instead of 1/2 inch, I had my 1/2 inch score, and I skipped over 1/8 of an inch and scored again. So I did it this way. So at 5/8, do another score. And then that's where I'm going to fold, is on that 5/8. But before you do that, check to see if you need to on yours. I may have cut mine just slightly off. I don't know. My original prototype, this measurement worked fine, but for this one, it is not. So now when I fold this down, flatten it completely down, and check, this is going to fit within this space. Does that make sense? I hope so. So just check, and if you need to add an extra score line to change the fold to make it fit. So this tab here, instead of 1/2 inch, it's going to be 5/8. It's a little bit wider. So it's just an adjustment that we sometimes have to do when we're building something. So I just wanted to share that to make sure that you do check that before you glue it all down, because when you do, then everything will fit nice and flat the way it's supposed to. All 4 of my folders made. I have the front patterned, the back where the easel is, the easels on all of them. So I patterned the back of the easel, the base under here, and then of course where the magnet is on all of them. I did not pattern anything on the inside. Now I will on 2 of them pattern the front here, or add a strip in here to cover some brads that I'm going to be using for closures. But the easels are all on, so these are them standing up. And next we're going to attach our, if it's for an album, little photo pages or your recipe card pages, and we have 2 styles. So I'm going to choose this one as my first one and this as my second one, and these will be the other 2. I will not be making them with you because they're going to be made the same as these, but I'll share them once they're made. And so I'm going to get started on these 2, but first let's go ahead and score our pieces. So you have 12 of each style. This one is a 6.5 by 3.5, and we're going to score it. So let me take this mat off. This in, put your 6.5 in at the top. Grab your score tool, and you're going to score at just a 1/2 inch. These are going to attach to the side on the front of one of your 2 folders. So these are already all done. The other style will lift down, and these measure 5.5 by 4, and I'm going to score, turn it so that the 4.5 side, the 4-inch side, sorry, these are 5.5, I think I said it right, by 4. Put your 4-inch at the top, and we're just going to score at a 1/2 inch. So these attach at the bottom, and I've already done all the others. So we have 12 of each, 6 on each folder. So we have enough for all 4 folders. Get my mat, and then we'll get started on this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do this one first. You do need to fold and burnish all your score lines. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up the camera and do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and do them all. Okay, so now we have them all folded and burnished. So these are the opening from the down, and these are opening from the side. And we're going to separate them. We want 6 to go together. 6. Each side, and then 6 of these. And these other 6 for the other one. Okay, so we'll set these aside. Now we're ready to put these together. So this one, you're going to take your last one. Make sure it's really burnished down good. Take another one, and you're going to put your glue on the back side of this, just the 1/2 inch hinge. And you're going to put it down here on the left. Make sure it's lined up. You want to make sure, check your edges here, top and bottom. Line this up and burnish. These are stacked pages. So you will stack all 6 together. And again, just make sure before that glue sets that you've lined everything up. I'm going to speed up the camera and keep adding these. Okay, so there's that set. It's all ready. I've burnished it all. Now I will not be putting pattern paper on the inside because I'm going to add the recipe cards instead, and also they're made for 3x5, made for 3x5 cards or 3x5 photos. Okay, so I have two different kinds of cards here that I had in my stash. So you see here, this is going to glue down. Or if you prefer to be able to take the card out, I may decide to make some corner mounts. So it's going to go like that, and it will have this border around it. Okay. I have some white ones and some, I'm going to use both in mine. This is a little bit longer, but that's fine. Okay. So that's what that's going to be like with those cards. So that's the side opening. So you will do the other one exactly the same. I'm not going to do it on camera. And then next we're going to take the bottom one, and it's going to be the same way. You're going to take one, and then take the second one, the next one, and you're going to stack it on top. So I'll put the glue here on just my 1/2 inch. This is where the fold is. Line them up. Make sure you're on the edges. They're lined up nice and neat. Okay. Next one. And I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because you can see how they're going to be stacked together with just the hinges. Okay, so here's the other set. These will open down in our book. And again, on the inside, we will have our recipe cards like that. This one I may trim this down just a little bit. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how to put these on and make a closure for each one. And I'm going to work on these two, my first and second ones. This is going to be my first one, this will be the second one in the bottom. Now we're going to work on these side opening pages. There's 6 that we put together. I have already put in a recipe card to see how I liked it, and it turned out really cute, so I do like that. But anyway, we're going to take this, it's blank, and before we add any paper to this front, we're going to do our magnets. So we take the little piece that we cut that is 2 inches by 1, and we scored it. I did it off camera. I scored it at a 1/2 inch. Erase my marks. So we're going to make two of these. So you want 2 pieces like this. It's in your cutting list, cutting guide. I'm just erasing my pencil marks. And this is going to attach to the back of the very back flap. So I'm going to put glue on this 1/2 inch. Just like that. Now I want it to have a little space, so I'm going to let it dry first. Now you could score this 1/8 of an inch apart. Make sure all my glue is cleaned off. I am just going to fold it with an extra width here. Just kind of slide it to the side here, just a tiny bit, and flatten it along that edge right there. Okay, that gives us that about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to burnish that. Now I'm going to open this up. So you see it there. I'm going to take one of the magnet snaps, the large one. It doesn't matter which side, a plus or a minus. And I'm going to put it centered right there, about 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch from the end. And then this, I've cut these little pieces of paper to mat over that. So we definitely want to go ahead and do that here on the inside. Put it on the magnet to make sure it sticks. And then also on my paper. So these, I cut out some of the scraps. And then burnish it down. And since it's small, it's going to try to want to pop up, but you just work with it and get that rounded. You do see a slight ridge with magnets, and that's to be expected. Straighten it up. Finish right here and right here. Now that we're going to attach this magnet with the sticker side up, and we're going to fold it over. Try to get that little space there in there. Peel this backing off. Bring it over, give it that little extra room there, and attach it down. Get it as straight as you can. Let me see if I can do it a little bit straighter. So put a piece of score tape over this magnet here so they close up like that. Open this back, and then cut a piece of pattern paper 1/8 of an inch each direction smaller. So this is 5 3/8 by 3 3/8. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this backing off. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down over the front. And what I've done is I forgot this part here, but I want this trim here, so I'm going to flip this over. Now this is this hinge on the left. So I forgot to tell you, I'm going to put it that direction because we're going to make a pocket out of this. So this folds over the front here, just like that. So we have it solid back here except for this piece right here. Let's go ahead and put the same pattern here on the front, like that. Let's just cut about 1/8 of an inch smaller, both two directions. Go ahead and attach that on there. Finish that off. Then we have a piece here, and I'm going to measure it and see. Just cut 5 5/8, which is a little longer than I want it to be. I'm trying to decide if I want it here. I'm going to trim this down to the size of the red. So instead of 5 5/8, this is going to be, this is 5 5/8 here. So I'm going to cut this black one down to about 4 7/8. going to make us a belly band. It's going to stack right there on top. Well, I cut that a little small. Should have left it at 5. So I'm going to recut. So recut this 1 inch by 5, and I'm just going to put glue on each end to make this a belly band. So I want it to match up here. Come all the way across. So I'm going to burnish that. So then this is going to be cut down to 7/8 by 4 7/8. And this is going to glue right onto that. Okay. Finish that. So that gives us a little belly band right here behind this closure piece. Now then, this on this side we can add pattern paper if we want to right here, or we can wait and use some of our scraps or some stickers. So I'm going to wait. Let me see. I do like this black plaid border here from the sticker sheet, and I'm going to just lay it on here, see if it fits, and then I'll cut it because I want to make sure and add some glue. Let me see if I'm going to bend correctly though. Yeah, that'll be fine. So from here to right there. Cut it a little long and then I'll trim it off. Save this other piece. Let's get some glue. I'm just going to stick it on here. And then where it's a little bit long here on the end, just trim that off. There we go. It's cute. My paper clip stuck. So next we're going to take our folder, and this is going to fit down. I'm going to center it, and I want the bottom of this to stop at this score line here. So we leave this black. This will be trimmed later on as I decorate. So I'm going to do that. Now I want to make this a pocket. So the glue is going to go on each short end. And then make sure that it is the magnets on the right. So you flip it like this. This is the bottom down here. Put your glue on the bottom. And then we're going to, and if you get it backwards, don't fret about that a whole lot. So push this down to the bottom, and I'm just going to look at it. It's about a 1/2 inch on each side. Put my hand in there. Get some burnishing going on. Up, all the way to the back. Burnish that. Make sure it is sticking down. Okay, so see how it lines up? Oh, I did it upside down. It's okay. I will change my card. Don't do what I did. I assembled it And my card is over here upside down. That's okay, I'll change that. It's just 2 little corner pieces, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's let that dry for just a second, and I'll pull that other stuff off and get it ready to do it the correct way. So don't put those on until you've got it in the book. While this is drying, I'm going to show you 2 ways to make photo corners so that your cards can go in and out. And I did put one in on the back side. It's okay, it's going to work out just fine. So I have this punch. You may have a circle punch or scallop punch or whatever kind of punch you have. This one's a square, and I just punch out. I'm only going to do corners on 2 sides, 2 corners. So once I punch it out, I just cut it in half at an angle to make little photo corners, because I want to be able to take the recipe cards in and out. So I'm just making several here since I've already punched them. But you can also make your photo corners out of stickers. So I have glued a lemon and a strawberry here on this black cardstock. And I'm just going to fussy cut around. This is to give it some stability and also to take away the stickiness. So you can use some baby powder or cornstarch to make it not sticky anymore. But I decided I would do it this way. And just cut around. And you can leave a little bit of a black border. It's going to be fine because it's going to be glued onto black. So this is what some people call loose fussy cutting. Just kind of leaving a border around. Doesn't have to be real precise. Okay, let's open this up now. And you could do this before you actually put it on the folder. It might make it a little easier. So make sure that's the first one. As I said, these are not going to have pattern paper. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this bottom edge of this lemon, maybe a little bit on the leaf, kind of up like a curve. And I'm going to put it down in this left corner. And the strawberry on the right side of it. Let that dry just for a second. So what that does is it leaves it open here and up here where you can slide your recipe card in. I'm going to move this lemon just a little bit. I'm going to turn it so it fits in there flat like that. And just move it like that. So that will hold it. You can still take your card out. I'm just going to peel this off just a minute here. Need to re-glue some of this because I had moved it like that. Just let that dry for a second. And then while those are drying, I'm going to flip it over and show you these little corners. So they're going to go in the same, just in the corner. And I just hold them and I put a little bit of glue, kind of dab it. Put it up here in the corner. And the other one. And you can put them on the opposite side also, which I probably will end up having to do because I have some already on the opposite side because I goofed a little bit. So turn that, there we go. So you could put pictures or more recipe cards. I'm planning to just put recipe cards for now on these sides here, so 6 to a folder, but you have room to add even 6 more or some photos, whatever you need to do. So if you'll see this, we'll go in to kind of wiggle it in there a little bit. And there's that card on that page. So that's how you do your recipe cards. And then of course we're going to be decorating. I will be doing it not on camera. I will show you a few tags and booklets, things that you can make to stick inside. Like I said, you have a pocket here that you can add stuff to. You've got your belly band here to add things. So this is how you assemble the pages, the cards on the first one. And also I forgot to share, I'm going to make paper clips. So I have here a red vinyl paper clip because I want to be able to hold these in a certain position. And I'm going to use a barn sticker and put some glue on it. And I'm going to insert this right the end of it right there. Then I'm going to take that, oops, right there, put some glue on the paper clip too. Take the black cardstock again. I'm just going to lay it on here, press that down, flip it over, and I'm going to let it dry. Really press it down where the paper clip part is. And then we're going to cut around it and turn this into a little paper clip. So this is really easy to do because it's just nice straight little cuts. Barn on it. And so you just open up your pages, and where you want to hold it in, you just clip it in there, and it'll just kind of stick up and be decorative, just like that. Okay, so we'll be adding more decorations to this folder, and next I'm going to show you how to attach the pages and a closure for the one that flips down. And then I want to show you real quick, of course this will be decorated, different things will be added. This bottom border, now don't do the bottom unless you just want to. It's not necessary, that kind of bent there, but anyway, you can add pattern paper if you have enough scraps left over. I like to wait on those kind of things until the very end to see what paper I have scraps of that will fit. I don't want to cut into full sheets. Now here for this space I like to use ribbon, and so in my stash I had this green check, which I think looks really good with this green here. Not quite the same, but close enough. So I wrapped and measured around the whole piece. It's a little bit longer than I needed. Then I added my 1/4 inch score tape on the back. And so I'm just going to peel this off a little bit at a time, and I'm going to start from the back. I'm going to lift up here, and I'm going to go under here and attach down on that 1/2 inch space. So this will bring this around the end piece here, and you can press it in. I like using ribbon because it really conforms really well to what you're putting it on, especially if it's the 1/2 inch size. It works really good. So then I press that in. Okay, and there. You can use a sticker border strip. You can use 3/8 inch paper strips out of scraps. You could use some lace. And once you put this on with the score tape, it's going to stay really well. I need to see how much more I need. Not quite all of this, so I'm going to kind of cut it off right here. Can't really see that on the inside, so I'm just going to reach in there and press it in and finish that off. So that looks really cute there with that lace on there. I mean ribbon, not lace. But lace would be cute too. So if you find something else like another piece, skinnier ribbon or something, you could double up. So that one's finished. So the next one we're going to do is put the pages and the closure on for the bottom flap. So let me grab that. So that's going to go on this second one of mine. And I've decided to use roosters on the front. And this is going to attach down. Now it's important that this attaches down flush with the bottom so that when it opens, it can actually lay down on your table and help with looking at your recipes. So that's going to be a flip through. This one will not have a pocket, but it's going to have a swing tab. And so I need to look at my brads and my different stickers or cut aparts and see what I might want to use to put on that to go with this rooster paper here. So that's going to go right there. I'm going to go ahead and I don't need a magnet for this set, so I'm going to go ahead and take my glue and go ahead and attach this down. So I cut this out at 5 3/8 wide by 3 3/8 tall to fit this 3.5 by 5.5 booklet here. So we're going to stick it down and burnish it just like that. And then we will use this tab here, and that's going to attach there at the bottom. We're going to center it. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on my 1/2 inch tab here that sticks out. And we're going to line this up flush with the bottom, and then I'm just going to look at it and center it pretty good. Open this up, reach under there and burnish. Press it down. Make sure it stays on straight. Flush with the bottom, stays on straight. Now it might help you if you use score tape on this step and glue, because it would help hold it down and keep it in place if you have problems with that. So that's going to sit flat in there. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to look and see what I want for my swing tab. Swing tab, I cut out this Don't Be Afraid to Take whisks, W-H-I-S-K-S, whisks, and I matted it to some of the green print to give it a double thickness, and I have poked a little hole here in the center, and I found me a brad from my stash. I may have forgot to put that on the supply list. I'll double check and make sure that it is. So I just have lots of brads, and I'm sure you do in yours. It could be a plain white, black, whatever you have. This one happens to be a green pearl looking one. If I can get it. The prongs are kind of bent, so I'm trying to get it in. I didn't want to poke a really big hole. There we go. So I think that kind of looks kitcheny. And I poked a hole. I decided I wanted it offset here so as to not cover up some of the roosters. So I poked a little hole here where I want it to go, and I'm just going to stick it in, go all the way through. So that will hold it closed nicely. I'm going to open the prongs up, turn them so that they're going horizontal. Shouldn't be a big issue in here anyway, but okay. And I'm going to open these up, and because they're on the inside, I don't want anything hanging on them. I don't think it will, but I'm going to take a scrap of paper, and I'm just going to cover that up. You don't have to cover the whole thing, but I like how that turned out. It looks really cute like that. And that's how you make my stuffed recipe folders and storage box. This tutorial video is really long, so I'm not showing you all the decorating. I encourage you to have fun, make it your own, and create booklets, tags, and large mats to fit in the folders. I will, though, have a separate video showing some of the decorating if you're interested in watching that. So thank you so much for watching and participating in the hop. Remember, there are prizes for hopping, and I've listed the links in the video description below and the prize details so that you can easily find the other videos of those participating. Be sure to check out Country Craft Creations online store for your craft supplies, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.